Oklahoma Gardening is a production of the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service as part of the land grant mission of the Division of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Oklahoma State University, dedicated to improving the quality of life of the citizens of Oklahoma through research-based information. Southwood Landscape and Garden Center, Tulsa's source for great gardens, southwoodgardencenter.com. And the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping to keep Oklahoma green and growing.
Welcome to Oklahoma Gardening. On today's show, we're visiting the Tulsa County OSU Extension Office and a few of their horticultural activities. Horticulture Extension Educator Brian Jervis takes us on a tour of the Tulsa County OSU Extension Center. At the Philbrook Museum of Art, we examine a new pest in crepe myrtles. We find out how Master Gardeners are partnering with local businesses to beautify the Brookside area of Tulsa. And we visit the home garden of a Tulsa County Master Gardener in Jenks, America.
Today we're going to go visit one of our 77 counties and look at how OSU Extension is impacting the community and influencing horticulture.
Well, greetings. I'm Brian Jervis. I'm one of the horticulture educators here in Tulsa County. You're at the Tulsa County Extension Office, and we're glad to have everybody here today. Wanted to talk a little bit about our program, our Master Gardener program specifically. We're pretty excited about our program. We have about 416 volunteers that are active, and last year in 2016 they volunteered 40,000 hours for Oklahoma Cooperative Extension. And we're excited to be a part of the gardening community and share the love of gardening. Tulsa Master Gardeners go out into the public school systems. And last year, or this last school year, we taught about 22,000 kids in about gardening, about worms, about soils, about trees. We really enjoy that. It's good to have the kids learn about gardening. So each year we have a training in the fall. We're lucky enough to have about 120 people apply to be a Master Gardener, and we accept 40 into our class. So it's a 15-week class. We have it on Wednesdays from 9 until 3, covering the whole broad spectrum of whatever there is related to gardening and gardening problems. So you're out at our demonstration garden today, and around our building here at the Tulsa County Fairgrounds, our volunteers have put in the plants and care for it, put irrigation in, and it's a great demonstration garden for when people come in with problems or they want a good example of a shade plant that they can plant. We can take them out to our shady area or our sunny area and show them examples of plants, show them what they look like. You know, if they come in the wintertime, then we can show them what they look like in the wintertime, maybe without the flowers, maybe the bark. So it's a great way, great for the community to see our garden. Most all of them are labeled, and so they can get an example, take them back to the nursery, find out the plants, get them and buy them from there. So when you're out working in your yards and you see problems with your plants, you can bring them to any extension office, or feel free to bring them to the Tulsa County Extension Office. We have volunteers on the phones Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. If you feel free to email them, or you can give us a phone call. So now you're inside at our diagnostic center. Today we have Tom Ingram here answering the phones, and Tom answers the phones probably once a week here. And Tom, tell us a little bit about the phone room.
Well, the phone center is kind of the nerve center here for our diagnostic center. People call, they email, they walk in. They either want to know what's wrong with something that they have, or they want a suggestion on how I could do something better, or what's a good plant to plant here or shrub. But we get a lot of people walking in with sick plants or insects, wanting to know what this is and how do I get rid of it, or what's this black fungus all over my tomato plants. There's been a lot of that lately this summer.
Great. So we get about 4,000 phone calls, 4,000 inquiries here in the diagnostic center a year.
About 4,000 a year. Sometimes it's just really busy. Today's really busy. It's prime season for bugs and insects and disease out there, so we're doing our best to help. Well, it's good to see it, and there's usually 3 of us here, so people will have to wait, but it's not unusual for all 3 of us to be busy at the same time.
So do you have to know everything to be a master gardener?
Well, you don't have to know everything, but this is a good place to learn. Here are the phones there with what walks through the door. But we got people with lots of different experience levels, brand new people and master gardeners here that have been here 20 years. So they're a huge resource for us, as well as just the extension agents, such as yourself, for backup.
Great, Tom. I'm glad you're here today. Thank you.
Thanks.
So we're looking at a crepe myrtle here at the Philbrook Museum, and crepe myrtles are a beautiful flowering shrub. They flower all summer and on into fall. And we've got a lot of different colors on crepe myrtles. They have great bark, and we really love crepe myrtles, probably our favorite. So, but what we found some scale that has been attacking crepe myrtles lately. It's called a crepe myrtle bark scale, and we have seen it a lot in Tulsa. So what I wanted to show in this segment is the scale and a little bit of examples of the scale. But here with us is the Director of Horticulture at Philbrook, is Sheila Kanotz, and we're excited to have her and be at her location and talk a little bit about her crepe myrtle. Sheila, thanks for having us.
Sure, thanks for coming.
So the scales, you said you started noticing them this year, and it is kind of a scary thing because we do have a lot of crepe myrtles around, and you know, anything that attacks a lot of plants, we're gonna have issues. So tell us when you found them and what you saw.
Sure, yeah, it was just about 5 or 6 weeks ago now that we first saw it, and we've just seen it on these crepe myrtles that are up here in the South Formal Garden. And so we just started noticing the kind of white fuzzy, you know, insects there on where we had cuts made.
The crepe myrtle bark scale has, it kind of has 3 life cycles here. It kind of runs three life cycles throughout the year. And what we're seeing, it is new. It's a pest that came from China. They noticed it in Texas, in Dallas area in 2004. The landscape company found them, and then so they started doing a little studying and a little research, and then they just kind of grown from there. So they're throughout the Midwest. So how do you care for these? Do you cut these back? How exactly do you take care of these here?
Yeah, we do cut these back every year just from the location they're in and the size we're trying to maintain right here. We do have other crepe myrtles on property that we don't cut back, and we have not found the scale on those yet. But you know, we're just looking at trying to maintain them, and we have the beehives on property, so what we're going to be doing to take care of this without negatively impacting our bees.
Correct, yeah, and it's one of those that, you know, we are seeing it. The scale has a piercing, sucking mouth part, so it likes the tender growth, the new fresh growth. So when you go and cut those back every year, that growth is pretty tender, so they can get in, versus the wood material that may be a year old. They just can't penetrate that as well. Okay, so control on crepe myrtle bark scale is kind of a new territory. We've controlled different scales in the past, but this one's called a felt type scale. And what they do, they extrude and kind of grow a felty material on their backs as they connect to that plant. And one of the options is a dormant oil, is a winter dormant oil that we've done with other scales before. So we will coat that whole crepe myrtle limb with a heavy dormant oil or heavy horticulture oil. The other options would be is chemicals. We have a couple chemicals, maybe some contact chemicals that can work. Not so effective because of that waxy substance. Some of the chemicals that we can use, you know, we do want to be careful when the bees are active. Some of the systemics will get inside the plant, and it can transfer that chemical through the pollen and then harm the bees. And then we were talking earlier about actually getting in there and mechanically removing, getting in there and scrubbing. So what do you think y'all's options, what do you think your best options are going to
I think, yeah, we're going to try the mechanical, and then we're looking at maybe getting a few beneficial insects in, and so just some general predators, since they don't really seem to have anything specifically for the crepe myrtle bark scale yet.
Okay, so maybe some lady beetles and maybe some lace wings and
Right.
things like
Yeah.
that. Well, that should help, but it's hard. We're in new ground, new territory, so we're gonna, scouting, watching, keeping that tree healthy. And another thing that I haven't mentioned is the sooty mold. Sooty mold's been around, and it comes off of aphids and any honeydew secreting insects. So they're gonna suck and feed on the juices. Those juices are gonna go through their body and come out the other side as a honey substance or a sugary substance. So that's one way to tell if you have crepe myrtle bark scale. If you have that black kind of powdery sooty mold looking material underneath, especially in the fall. Another way to tell is you got a lot of ants. The ants will go in and harvest the honeydew, and then that's sugary, so they're going to take that, and they're going to, there's going to be a lot of ant movement around that trunk. So another good thing for a homeowner to do is watch for the ants, watch for the sooty molds, and then of course watch for that crepe myrtle bark scale that you can see. So we're out on Brookside down at around 41st and Peoria here in Tulsa County. And what we're doing, we're going to show you a little bit about what we're doing with community beautification, community business beautification. We're pretty excited about this project. Today we have Gerald Hatfield. Gerald's a Master Gardener with our program, and he's chairman of our community beautification, Tulsa Blooms. So Gerald, you may tell us a little bit, how long have you been in the program, and a little bit about the pots?
Well, I started Master Gardener in the class of 2012, as you know, Ryan.
Okay.
I've been chairman of this particular Tulsa Blooms for the past 2 years.
Okay.
And one of the things that I'd like for everybody to understand is that this is all volunteer.
Yes.
We've got 18 volunteers that help us do the maintenance. They do the watering, the fertilizing, they trim back a little bit when it's required. But then twice a year, like this spring, we planted these petunias, and in October, we'll pull the petunias out and we'll plant either violas or pansies. And at that point, and that's when the Master Gardeners really turn out and help us. And we'll get like 50 people down here between here and Blue Dome downtown.
Yeah.
We've got between Brookside and Blue Dome, we've got 120 pots that we maintain, that we plant.
That's awesome.
And once again, it's all volunteers. I would say that we've got approximately 30 to 35 merchants that support us.
Okay.
What they do is originally they paid to have the pots set about 10 years ago. That's how old this program is.
Okay.
And then since then, they pay us so much a year if we do the watering, and then so much a year if they do the watering. And then all we do is just plant. And there's a mix of that. I've got 18 people, as I said before, that's on the watering team. We water Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As a matter of fact, I'm one of those people, and I just finished, with the help of my grandson, watering the west side of here on Brookside.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we are.
Great. Yeah, it has been a challenge. We've learned a lot.
Oh, we have.
We first started 10 years ago, like you said, and we started with our local TV station, Channel 2. And I think we put in 6 to 8 pots at that point. And the idea was to show the businesses that we could plant flowers, a little bit of care and a little bit of work throughout the year, but you can have a beautiful pot to help beautify your front where they'll welcome in their customers.
And we get so many compliments. Not only do I hear it when I'm watering, but the watering team shares with me. We get together every couple of months and have a little meeting, and they share with how, as they're watering down here in the morning, the runners are down or the people walking their dogs, and they say, we just can't believe the work you guys do, and these look so beautiful, and we appreciate it so much. And of course, that's all the payment our volunteers need.
That's right. It is work, and I mean, we, on these pots, some of them have irrigation. I think we were talking in about half of them, they have
Right.
a drip irrigation,
Right.
which we enjoy, because learning from experience, if they don't have a constant water, especially during these heat summer days, it gets hot, and very important.
Well, and also too, over the years, we've experimented with different plants. As you know, for a long time we had some boxwoods in here, but they were just sucking all the moisture out, and our petunias faltered about this time of year.
Yeah,
So a
yeah.
couple of years ago, we pulled all them out, and now we're going to this fountain grass, and we've been fairly successful, but I think, as you and I have discussed, next year we'll probably move to a different type of grass, and we keep experimenting to find the best mix of what is good maintenance and is beautiful.
Right, and we have bubblegum Vesta petunias around. That's the pink flowers. And then, like Gerald said, we have the the fountain grass. Fireworks is a variety on that. And you know, we like the pink, but we would like to go to another color, and we tried that a year or so ago
and failed.
And failed. So, and then now we've kind of got a trademark of this pink. And everybody recognizes these flowers down here, and that's something we were trying to do on that, and it works fairly well for us. And like you said, we expanded. We about 5 years ago we decided to try another area, so we found Blue Dome District downtown.
Well, down in the Brookside we've got east-west streets, and we just didn't get enough sun, so we've experimented with lantanas, and we've got some good looking lantanas down there right now. We've put in some petunias and just various different plants, and we're watching them real close to make sure that what we've got is going to work. So each year we just try to go with something that we know lantanas will work, and now we're trying to find another species that'll work in with the lantanas, make a beautiful full pot, and every year we learn a little bit.
Great.
Through our program down at Blue Dome, people saw that, and now the city of Tulsa, Downtown Unlimited, as you'll know, is doing some things based on what the luck we've had with our pots down there.
Correct, and we're excited about that as well. So we're at another location here with our Tulsa Blooms, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about the history of this. We started about 10 years ago. Dr. Alan Stevens from Kansas State, he does a lot of annual trials up at Kansas State. Came and spoke to our Master Gardener group, and he was showing these on a couple slides and kind of caught our eye, and he said, you know, after visiting with him, he said, you know, this is a project that can be done anywhere. They have a lot of little small town communities in Kansas that will put pots up and down their business areas. And so getting thinking and getting the brain going, he said, you know, you can do it here in Tulsa. And I said, well, we don't have a lot of small communities. We're one big community. So he said, but no, you really have different business associations that can play the role. So again, we tried it, and it seems to be great and successful. So we're really proud of it. Okay, so we're at one of our local businesses, and we wanted to get Janine Billings, one of the State Farm agents here in town that is involved with our program on Tulsa Blooms, and get her perspective of what our program's doing for the community.
Absolutely. The Tulsa Master Gardeners program came to us about 10 years ago to the Brookside Business Association to kind of kick off this new idea they had to take a part of town and develop it, and adding flowers and color and warmth and happiness, and that's exactly what you guys have done for Brookside, and we are so grateful to have over 100 pots right here on Brookside.
Great, yeah, and we're glad to be a part of it, and as you can tell, you know, it really helps the businesses, and it shows that color, adds that color. A little bit of work, but we're proud of the product that we all have. We're definitely glad to be a part of it.
Well, I would like you to encourage you to keep the bubblegum petunias because Brookside looks pretty in pink.
Yeah, the pink's definitely a trademark. You'll look down the street and see the pink, and it's a great time of year right now because that's what you see, that sea of pink.
Exactly. It gets a lot of notification to everybody and brings a lot of people to the area. Everybody likes the color.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you for being a part of the program, and we really appreciate it.
I appreciate it too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So another part of this Tulsa Blooms Community Beautification Project is a fun one. It's a door hanger, and we've printed off these door hangers, and basically the door hanger says, thank you for your beautiful landscape. And then we'll put them in Master Gardeners' cars and hands, and as they drive by a beautiful landscape, they'll go and hang it on their door, thanking them for their beautiful landscape that they have. So when our volunteers are on the phone, they'll get these phone calls saying, hey, I got a door hanger, and thank you for putting the door hanger on our house. We really appreciate it. And then we get to hear stories about them and their landscape and maybe their rose bush. We really enjoy that part of the door hanging community beautification project. It's a good way to market our program and market what we're doing with our community beautification project, Tulsa Blooms. All right, we're at Debby Bezan's house. Debbie's a Master Gardener in Tulsa County, and she's been a Master Gardener since 2011.
That's right.
Beautiful house. We're looking forward to touring the beds and looking at all the pretty plants. So kind of tell us a little bit about the house and kind of the beds that you've got going.
Well, we moved in here about 3 years ago, and a lot of these beds were just basically Bermuda grass, and we decided we wanted to expand that a little bit. I like to do both vegetable gardening and also ornamentals, so we put in some new beds and been going at it ever since.
Well, they do look beautiful. There's a mix between tomatoes and pretty flowering plants and butterfly gardens and things like that here. So, you know, you got a beautiful bed, kind of a border bed that does have a mix. So we were talking earlier, and you said you had some rosette problems and had to adjust a little bit.
Right.
But these roses look pretty good.
Yeah, these two are doing pretty well. We had one in the middle here that got rosette, and so we had to take it out, and then we put a Vitex in just this last year. So it's kind of a baby, but it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, those Vitex are come right up, and they're tough as nails for sure.
Yeah,
so
they're really pretty.
They look great. Marigolds kind of intermixed to give us some color. It's beautiful, beautiful. Butterfly bush, how old's the butterfly bush?
That one's probably about 2 or 3 years old. We had to prune it back this year, so it's a little smaller than it was last year, but it's perking up.
Great, I see the way station. Talk a little bit about the way station and what that's all about.
Well, Tulsa's trying to get a lot of monarch way stations going to attract the monarchs and keep them going on their migration. And this way station, to qualify, you have to have 3 different types of milkweeds, and then you have to have a lot of different nectar plants too. And so that's what we've done here.
Okay, great. So we're down a little further in kind of your intermixed vegetables and marigolds and beans and tomatoes look wonderful.
I've had tomatoes here on this side just this year, and I put them on the other side last year. So I try to switch them out a little bit to try to keep the diseases down a bit. All different varieties here. We've got cherry tomatoes, we've got celebrity, early girl, better boy, big boy, got aroma on the end there. So I tried different varieties, kind of keep them going throughout the season.
I see how you've pruned up the bottom leaves, which is a great idea this time of year with the temperature the way it is and the humidity the way it is. We definitely get a lot of water splashing, which is a good problem to have, but not so good for the tomato to help keep the disease down. So was that your goal on that?
We had a lot of trouble with the fungus on the lower leaves, and they were starting to look yellow and curling up. So I've trimmed them down and sprayed a little fungicide on them to try to keep that under control. Yeah,
fungicide definitely has been our friend this high humidity season for sure.
Have to pick them quick.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, they're starting to ripen up. So I see you have sweet potatoes and green beans and asparagus in the back.
Right, back over there. And we got some Malabar spinach, which is a vining spinach that grows well in the summertime, and then some cucumbers too.
Okay. Have you grown sweet potatoes before?
Yes,
You usually get a good crop?
Do, and it's a lot of fun to dig them up in the fall.
It is. Great. Yeah, this is definitely a great mix of plants and vegetables, and the marigolds there, maybe hopefully stop an insect or two, and beautiful bed.
Thank you.
So we've got some pretty examples and pretty standard examples of some backyard around a pool and a wonderful pocket gardens around the pool. Kind of talk about the pocket gardens you have here and your little friend.
Oh, this is Buddy. He likes the pool area too.
That's right.
He likes to drink out of it. But we have these little tiny pocket gardens here, and we have these black elephant ears, and then we've got some vinca down here, and then Mexican heather. The vinca and the Mexican heather are annuals, and these black elephant ears have turned out to be perennials. I'm kind of surprised, but they've come back the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, you love that area. It kind of helps break the concrete up, and it kind of goes into the beds again. Beds are beautiful in the pool area too, and working through it, and you've got all sorts of flowers, and then coming over here, we're got kind of a problem area, I guess you was talking about earlier. So tell us about the problem area.
Well, when we got the house, this area was basically just full of weeds, and there were so many weeds it's kind of hard to control them. And so we decided to put in moneywort, and we got two different varieties here, a yellow one and a green one, and we're trying to get it just to grow a ground cover to crowd out the weeds.
Yeah, it is kind of an area, and moneywort does a good job. You know, you've got a beautiful crepe myrtle in the back, and the moneywort will take a little bit of shade, but it'll also take some sun too. So,
yeah.
Very, very pretty. It is a nice day, and it's nice to come out and enjoy your garden, I'm sure.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, appreciate it.
There are lots of great horticultural events this time of year. Be sure and consider these activities when you're making your plans for the weeks ahead. Next week, we are exploring horticultural activities in Payne County. Horticulture Extension Educator Keith Reed evaluates some urban trees. Master Gardeners make seed bombs. We find sweet treats at N40 Blackberry Farm. And Keith pops in on an old friend. So be sure and saddle up next week as we crank out more TV you'll grow to love. To find out more information about show topics, as well as recipes, videos, articles, fact sheets, and other resources, including a directory of local extension offices, be sure and visit our website, oklahomagardening.okstate.edu. And we always have great information, answers to questions, photos, and gardening discussions on your favorite social media as well. Join in on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find this entire show and other recent shows, as well as individual segments on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And tune in to our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel to watch segments from previous hosts. Oklahoma Gardening is produced by the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service as part of the Division of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Oklahoma State University. The Botanic Garden at OSU is home to our studio gardens, and we encourage you to come visit this beautiful Stillwater jewel. We wish to thank our generous underwriters, Southwood Landscape and Garden Center, and the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry. Additional support is provided by Pond Pro Shops, Green Lake Nursery and the Garden Debut Plants, and the Oklahoma Horticultural Society. We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.